second. Also, gay kiss.
Wait, you'd rather listen to that one?
Well, like, in case we run out.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Alright, so.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so. How are you doing tonight, Baran?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Nick?
Well, I'm good. I'm just, I'm here to ask you about your, your past live music experience.
Right
you know,
on.
what kind of concerts you've seen, what kind of scenes you follow. So, yeah.
I sure like music.
The first question, what is the first live music experience that you remember?
Honestly, I've probably seen, like, people perform, like, out and about, but, like, I mean, I can't remember any of that shit, so I'm just gonna say my first concert I went to, and that was Ozzy Osbourne. My dad got me tickets for my birthday. I was really into metal, I was in 8th grade getting into, like, intro metal, Ozzy and Metallica and shit like that. And so my dad got me tickets to Ozzy Osbourne, fucking Rob Zombie, and this one band called In This Moment were opening, and it fucking sucked, dude.
It did?
It broke my dreams, man. Like,
Wait. So Rob Zombie sucked, or like Ozzy?
all of them sucked, dude. All of them sucked. They fucking. They're just terrible. Like, Ozzy was a corpse, like, on the stage, just, I'm Ozzy. Like, just all decrepit, He just had, like, a lot of money, so he hired, like, a really good band, his guitarist is, like, shredding over him, just to, like, kind of make it not so shitty, and then, like, Rob Zombie, well, I just hate Rob Zombie's music, and then in this moment, there's some, like, just emo shit, so, I mean, I don't know, it was just, like, really disappointing, and it was, like, in a huge stadium, so it was really impersonal.
Yeah, you kind of, like, had a lot of hype with it.
I had a lot of hype, because I was all about Ozzy Osbourne, but I completely slipped the fact of my mind that, like, these records that I loved were, like, fucking 30 years old and shit.
Yeah. So, what was the most memorable concert that you experienced?
Most memorable concert I
the one that made, like, a big impact? It doesn't have to be your favorite, but, like,
the most memorable one?
Yeah.
That was the most recent, well, there's memorable in, it's interesting, memorable in different ways, like, one of them is, the Metallica concert I went to. Mm-hmm. Metallica used to be my favorite band. And then I went to the Metallica concert and I stopped listening to Metallica. They were so terrible. They, like, James Hetfield, the singer, rhythm guitarist, got out of rehab. He became, like, a born-again Christian or something, and he has, like, a family now, so he just, like, censored himself. He's like, oh, how the heck are you guys? Oh,
So, wait, he plays the same songs with censors?
But he plays the same songs, he just kind of, like, censored himself, just, like, kind of, like, it was terrible. And then, but memorable, like, in a good way, in a moving, like, my whole musical conception of existence that was Sun. That was, okay. I mean, you guys might have seen the SUNN, parentheses. That was fucking memorable. Like, they had, like, 20 amps on stage in this line. It was the loudest shit I ever experienced. They played for 2 hours. It was a ritual of the riff.
Oh my god.
They just, like, summoned all these, netherworldly sounds just that you didn't even know that you could summon from guitars. Mm-hmm. They had no drummer. It wasn't like traditional rock band music. It was just a 2-hour sonic assault. Damn. And then everyone, there were a bunch of, like, random punk bands that, like, opened for them, and people were, like, jumping around, people were, like, moshing, like, yeah, But then Sun came on, and everyone was transfixed.
Yeah.
Everyone was just, like, standing, like, kind of, like, in a daze. And, like, everyone else was, like, laying on the floor. There were, like, people laying on the ground, just, like, in piles, cuddling each other, just like, whoa. Because, like, every chord you felt in your body, like, a different segment of your internal organs would be just, like, rattled by the sheer loudness. This was at the Rialto, and when they were doing their sound check at half volume, we got a noise complaint. That's how fucking loud they are.
How do you get a noise complaint, though?
Dude, there's this, like, hotel or bar or something, like, next door, and then they complained. We got noticed, and then we said, hey, we got a concert here, so fuck off, man.
Alright, so was there a time where a live performance grabbed your emotions? Like, did you feel really emotional?
Yeah. Most of the really heavy, like, power violence, hardcore, like, punk shit I go to, like, it's like a really whole different atmosphere, you know, because lots of shows like people are there like, oh yeah, we're musicians, look at us perform.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole kind of like glory behind it, whereas you know these DIY bands in these shitty little venues, you know, they pretty much humiliate themselves for us. You know, they have weird names, you know, like Gay Kiss, and, you know, like humiliation and shit.
Yeah.
And but like they, you know, just get to the core of the music.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
just get to the raw emotion, the raw expression, the raw like nastiness. You know, that like sound that like, you know, every kind of punk has like, you know, sought through his career, I guess. You know, it's just, you know, when you see, I mean, you listen to their records and it's something, you know, you might not like it, but you know, whether you like it or not, when you see them perform, like, even though it might seem like ignominious to some people, it might seem like really weird, like why the hell is he doing that? But you can't deny that they're like putting themselves in completely, you know, completely into the music.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
stretching their selves to, you know, stretching their bodies, stretching their minds. They're not even like conscious. They don't even like really care about like what they look like, and because you know, they usually look pretty stupid. You know, just kind of like lying around on the floor and like screaming about how their daddy beat them or whatever.
All right, so you kind of answered this already in the beginning, but I was gonna say, were you let down by a group or artist's live performance ever? And you said that.
Yeah,
with Ozzy.
most like big bands, I guess, like the big famous bands are usually like the shitty ones. Really
Usually the
interesting.
letdowns. That's very.
You know, it's because I mean, for me it's been either they're old, so I give them that. You know, it's like okay, they're not bad, they're just old. You know, they've been around too much. They're, you know, like losing, I guess. But then I've seen like various punk bands who fucking ripped ass, and they were, you know, they were older than my dad. The people in the bands.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think that's a fucking excuse.
All right, so do you follow a certain music scene now, or like, you know, continue to watch concerts frequently?
Yeah, usually in Tucson there's a really good like doom metal, like sludge metal, and kind of DIY hardcore punk sort of stuff going on, and that's kind of where I've been.
Yeah.
Like, there's this there's this festival that happens here every year called Southwest Terror Fest, and it's just kind of like a collection of all the weird, like, inglorious undercrust of, you know, kind of heavy extreme music.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, whether it's like metal punk or like even something else, you know, like noise or art rock or something. You know, this really interesting, like, harsh aesthetic.
Yeah, yeah.
They kind of follow, like, you know, just like DIY bands, like, you know, experimentation, you know, anyone who kind of comes with something interesting. And Tucson's got a really good knack for that, so
yeah,
there's a lot of local bands that are good.
Do you think music is progressing in a positive way, like in your view?
Yeah, I mean, you have all the people who are like, oh dude, you know, like Nicki Minaj, Justin Bieber, what the fuck is our world coming to?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, dude, you know, that's always been, you know, like everyone's freaking out about like Miley twerking or whatever, but like, you know, in the 80s when it was Madonna, it was the same fucking shit. So, I mean, there's always the shitty pop music. That's like always, you know, what's commercially sold out. That's always been a thing. But, you know, there's always like a really good undercurrent of music too, you know. I'm not just saying like obscure music is great, but you know, there's a bunch of, you know, I mean, there's a bunch of good bands every generation, and you know, there's a bunch of good bands now. So, I mean, I don't think people are gonna just all of a sudden suck at making music just because a certain time has elapsed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, people are infinitely creative.
So do you think any of the new styles coming up are reminiscent of any past styles?
Yeah, there's lots of revivals, especially in like rock, punk, and metal and stuff. There's lots of like throwbacks to, I mean, right now there's a lot of, well, I'd say a lot of throwback to like 70s like psychedelic rock. You know, really jammy sort of, you know, freeform sort of stuff. Or like kind of 60s, 70s, like psychedelic rock. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
You know, kind of everything's tie-dye, you know, lots of wah and like echoes on the guitars and everything. And I mean, you got bands like Destruction, you know, they're doing punk, but they're making it all like psychedelic, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of like, kind of adding color to things that making it, you know, more like hippy dippy.
Mm-hmm. Have you listened to the same styles of music for a majority of your life, or do you constantly like come up or find new genres?
Well, like, you know, I've had like a particular progression of what I listened to since I was a kid, since what my dad showed me.
Mm-hmm.
But even though they're different genres, I feel like I'm pursuing the same sort of sound.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's, you know, traditional Turkish music and like jazz and, you know, classic rock that my dad showed me, or if it's like, you know, the metal I listen to, or like the punk I listen to, or like, you know, even I don't even only listen to that. I listen to, you know, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like you'll notice a certain. If you were to go through my library, you'd notice a certain trend in the stuff I listen to, despite it crossing genres.
Yeah.
It's like a particular sort of, just like a sound, man. Just like a feeling you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I think, like, you know, as music progresses, the feeling that you're looking for is like harder to define a particular label.
Yeah.
You know, people who like limit themselves to particular genres.
It gets too confusing.
It's too confusing because then you know listen to another genre and there's like a lot of similarity.
Yeah.
You know, then people often you know wonder where their loyalties lie, and you know an argument about music becomes really political.
Yeah.
And people forget that it's the fucking arrangement of sound in the first place.
Yeah, that's it.
Does this arrangement of sound and silence sound good to you or not? It doesn't matter what it's fucking called or, you know.
Yeah. Alright. So, last question. So, Baran, do you play any instruments?
I play a lot of shit, but I'd say bass is what I'd like characterize myself with. You know, I play guitar and piano was my first instrument, and I like mess around with like anything I can get my hands on. But I mean, I characterize myself as a bassist.
It's more natural.
It's just what I feel home at.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite instrument. It's like the funnest to play. It's what I'm like the best at, I guess.
Have you done a lot of performances with that, or other
Man.
instruments?
I perform every day of my life.
Yes.
Your life is a performance. All of you listening to this are actors. Look to the person to the left of you. Look to the person to the right of you. Look at their faces. Look at their eyes. Look them in their little deceitful eyes. Everyone is putting up an act.
Thank you, Baran, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.